question for everybody watching. Imagine that you developed your own product. It could be any product. It could be an electronic product. It could be a fashion product. It could be a collectible. But imagine that you poured your blood, sweat, and tears into developing it, getting a patent for it, bringing it to market. You put your own little company logo on it. Things are going well. You're making sales. And then all of a sudden, one day, you find out that another person or company, aka a third party, has copied your product, except they took the company logo off, but in virtually every other way it looks identical. There might be some very small, subtle differences that are not noticeable to the untrained eye, but essentially it looks the same. And it's being sold at a much cheaper price. So now you have some people on the market who are buying that product instead of yours. So the question is, would you consider that item to be fake? I think the vast majority of people watching this would consider it to be fake. And there's a very good reason for that. Because it is fake. It's not genuine. That's what fake means. It is not the genuine product. Whether the company logo is on it or not, it's still fake. And I'm also willing to bet that most people in the situation that I just described would not say, oh, sure, it's okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sell my products for half price. Yeah, it's okay, because it's third party. That's right. Yeah, it's all right. Even though it's made of inferior materials, even though it doesn't work or function as I designed it, even though if it's electronic, it might actually break things that it's connected with. Sure, it's okay. In fact, bring in a fourth party, a fifth party. Yeah, that's fine. No, most people would not say that because the items are fake and they are harming your business and your reputation, because there are going to be some people who are going to think that that is the original product, even though the logo was taken off of it because it wasn't even replaced by another logo. So it causes deception in the marketplace, and there's a high likelihood of confusion. That's a very important legal concept we are going to go over in a few more minutes. But why am I even bringing this up, right? If you're seeing this video out of context, you need to go back to my prior video, which I will link to up top, which was called He Gave Me Fake Stuff. And in that video, what I was talking about is somebody who gave me a box of video game related items. And there were consoles in there, there were video games, and there were accessories. And what I was talking about in the video was how some of the items I received, such as the Wii controllers and the Wii nunchuck, were not legitimate products. They were fakes. And there were some people in the video game community, now not all, but some, who responded by saying that these items are not fake. They're just third party. They're just unlicensed. That doesn't matter. That does not matter in terms of whether or not you could call those items fake. By definition, every single fake item that was ever made was made by a third party. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not a place in the marketplace for certain types of third-party items. And we're going to get into that distinction because this is where things start to get controversial. But let's actually start at a common base where we could all agree, and then we'll talk about where things started to separate. So when most people think of fakes, they are thinking of what is legally referred to as a counterfeit. And in a counterfeit type of situation, someone has reproduced the product in every way, like let's say this Wii controller, and it actually will still have the original logo on it. Now, there might be some subtle ways to tell that's different, but it will actually have the company name on it, and they will attempt to pass this off as original. That's a counterfeit. That is an illegal fake. That is clear cut. There is no debate about that. And you cannot sell that type of stuff, by the way, even if you tell somebody it's counterfeit. I get that question sometimes in the reselling community. Well, what if I just say that it's counterfeit or sell it's fake? Can I do that? Not just with video game items. I get that with fashion items, that question. No, you cannot do that. It's illegal. Okay, now let's get into, though, this type of item. Now, this is the real one, but, again, imagine that we just took off the logo here, and besides some very small subtle differences, which I pointed out in the video, essentially looks like the same thing. Okay, same with the nunchuck. What do we call that? Is that legally a counterfeit? No, it's not legally a counterfeit because they took the logo off. What do we call that legally? Now, I'm not an attorney, by the way, just telling you this just based on my own general knowledge. That is called a knockoff. That's what that is referred to. Are knockoffs fakes? Yes. Knockoffs are fakes. That's why they call them knockoffs. They're not genuine. That's what a fake is. And is it made by a third party? Yes, it is. Okay, now let's get back to the whole topic of likelihood of confusion. Because what some people said in the video is it doesn't matter if the design is the same. Because I was pointing that out. The design is the same. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. It does matter. It does matter. Look up trade dress infringement. Trade dress is a term, it's a legal term that refers to product design. And this is where things can get legally complicated, okay? There's some judgment involved if the original manufacturer wants to pursue a legal course of action against a company that made something like I showed in that video. Okay, that's their decision to make. And they've got to make that decision based on the likelihood that the average consumer is going to get confused by what they see. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's go back and look at a legal case in 2008 involving a product that I actually showed in the prior video, the Nintendo Nunchuck. Well, what happened is Nintendo sued a company, a third party called Nyko, that was making fake nunchucks because Nintendo felt that Nyko was violating their trademark rights and their intellectual property. And what happened as a result of that case is Nyko pulled all of their fake nunchucks off of the shelves because it was causing confusion in the marketplace, and they had to agree to change the materials that they made the items out of. They had to agree to change the colors. They had to agree to change the design. That's all very important. So all of that was part of the settlement, and Nintendo authorized it and agreed to it. That is very important. So that's what I'm talking about when I said earlier that there can be a place for third-party products on the marketplace if, one, the company that is the original manufacturer has either licensed that out and authorized it, or if that third-party product is substantially different from something that is already on the market such that it's not going to cause confusion. Now, until the original manufacturer brings the case forwards, and as you know, we are flooded in the United States and other countries with fake products from China that, depending on how much of an impact a fake product is having on a company, sometimes it just doesn't financially make sense for them to go after that company. That's why you could still see these fake products for sale on the internet and in a retail store. But that doesn't mean they're not fakes. They're just legal fakes, basically, up until a time where that original manufacturer decides to pursue them. And speaking of pursuing companies, there are also class action lawsuits that could be filed by consumers against companies that make fake products. And I'll just bring up Nyko again because they are currently being sued as part of a class action lawsuits because the docks that they have made for the Switch are causing some of the switches to break, basically, or not functioning properly. At least that's what's alleged. And so, you know, these companies, these third-party companies out there, they gotta really be careful about this type of stuff. And you, as a seller, also should be careful about what types of products that you are selling. So that also brings me back to my prior video, because I had one person who commented, and I actually had several people who commented and said that the video title was clickbait because these items were not really fake. Well, as I just explained, they are fake. They're not technically counterfeits, but they are knockoff fakes, and they are not, those products that I showed in the video were not licensed and they were not authorized by Nintendo in any way, shape, or form. Now, I did also show a charger that I said it felt cheap. Now, yes, it's true. There is no original charger. When I was looking that up, because I never had one, I looked, I couldn't find an original. But what I was saying in the video is that charger just didn't feel right to me. It just felt cheap. I even made the point that, you know, for all I know, this thing could like light up on fire. And that's actually what's happening with a lot of these imitation products that are coming into the United States through Amazon, like phone accessories and chargers and stuff like that. Look it up. You'll see there's all sorts of reports of accidents and fires and all sorts of things like that happening. And I'm personally not going to sell that type of stuff. So to the one person who said, well, I'm lying to my viewers by calling things fake in the title, and then when I go to sell those items, I'm not going to say they're fake and I'm just going to say they're third party. No, I took those items that I identified as fake in the video and anything I identified as fake afterwards, and I got rid of them. I'm not selling those types of things.
Getting rid of stuff, just tossing it. Recycle it. Recycling.
So that is totally off base. All right, now that brings me to the PlayStation 3 controller from the prior video, because there were a bunch of people that pointed out that I didn't say that the PlayStation 3 controller was fake. Now that's true, I didn't. I also didn't say that it was real. And there were some people pointing out, because I had said in the video that I play video games, and there were some people saying, well, if you really play video games, you know, you would know that that's a fake, and you know, you don't really know what you're talking about with this subject and that kind of stuff. So I'm actually going to prove my point about marketplace confusion with what I'm going to talk about, that PS3 controller. But since comments were made about, you know, me and video games, and I had brought up video games, let me actually tie this into my own history with gaming, okay? Now, I never said that I'm an extreme gamer or anything like that. I'm not. I played a ton of video games when I was a kid. I grew up with Intellivision, so when video games first came to market, that's what I was playing while kids down the street were playing ColecoVision and Atari 2600. And then I got the first NES system when it came out, and I was playing Duck Hunt and the original Super Mario, all that kind of stuff. And then I got the Super Nintendo, I got the GameCube, all these things, okay? So Nintendo, and that's why I really focused on that in the video. I got the Wii, I got the Wii U, we have a Switch now. We're really primarily a Nintendo family, always have been, but also I've had all the different Xbox consoles that came out. So I had the original Xbox, had the Xbox 360, and we currently have an Xbox One. And I've had different miscellaneous systems over the year too. I mean, I used to play Bonk on TurboGrafx 16, all those things, for those of you who remember that stuff. Personally though, for me, I've never really been that much into PlayStation. Now, I did own a PlayStation 3, and I used to play Uncharted 2 on it. I also have a PlayStation 4. I don't have a PlayStation 5. I kind of stopped at that point. All right, so after I did the spontaneous reaction unboxing part of the video, I started to look at things in more detail. And we'll get back to that PS3 controller in just a second, but it actually reminds me of something, which is when I started going through the games. At that point, spontaneously, my main thing was just identify the games. And I had made an off-the-cuff comment that they look like they were in mail-away boxes because they were in like generic cases. And I did see that there was like a red circle on there. And I know that GameStop does have a red circle icon because I sell, as you can see here, I have a bunch of Funkos and I sell GameStop exclusives. I also, noted it looks very similar to like the Target icon as well. But that wasn't my focus at the time. And just to clarify, I never ever rented games from GameStop. So to me, it doesn't even matter where those games came from. If they came from GameStop or they came from a mail-away, it doesn't matter because I'm popping them out of the case and I'm just going to sell them separately from that. So anyway, that's just an aside. But with regards to the PS3 controller, I looked at that controller and I actually said to Mrs. Primetime, my wife, for those of you who don't know, I said, I don't remember the PS3 controller saying P3 in the middle of it. I thought that it had the icon, the PlayStation icon in it. But I don't have the console anymore or the controllers to go and look, so I got rid of it. So what I did is I did a Google search. I'll go try this yourself. Go type it into Google and just look at the images that came up. And one of the main images that came up was actually the same exact fake PlayStation 3 controller that I had. So I literally said to myself, I said, wow, maybe I misremembered it. Like I thought it was different. And so that's why I didn't say anything about it at the time. So I am glad that people actually brought that up because once I confirmed that and said, you know what, darn it, that's right, I got rid of those PS3 controllers. I'm not selling those because I also view those as fake controllers. There's no company called P3. That's not a separate brand or anything like that. And by the way, just because it has a separate brand name on it, oh, that's good. I mean, that does make some kind of distinction on some level, but that's not enough. Like Nyko, the company I mentioned earlier, they've been sued even though they have the name Nyko on it. Another point is people bring up, well, it's fine to sell third-party products because if it wasn't fine, then, we never have things like third-party car replacement parts and that kind of stuff. Well, but guess what? Like, just take a basic example, windshield wipers, right? A lot of people like to use Bosch windshield wipers. Well, guess what? There's fake Bosch windshield wipers out there, and they can get sued by the company that makes the original product. So this is not unique to video games. This is something that happens all over the place. As I said, there are certain types of third-party products that are allowed, that are fine, that aren't going to be any kind of problem or cause legal risks for the companies. But then there are other ones that are. And that is all based on everything that I described earlier. I mean, just to have a little fun with you to end this off, being a little sarcastic here, but how far are we going to take this third-party argument? Like let's say I want to create a company and I just want to sign autographs in other people's names, and I'll admit to them, I'm going to tell them up front, like, listen, this is not the real signature of LeBron James, for example. I'm even going to make it look a little bit different, but it's hard to get LeBron's signature, so it'd be cool. Like I have all these 8x10 photos of him. I actually remember all the sports 8x10 photos I found. I'm just going to put signatures on all of them. I'm just going to sign them as the as the real person's name. But I'll say, listen, it's not it's not actually the real person. It's just make it look like it. Am I going to get away with that if someone comes after me by saying it's third party? No. All right, everyone, I hope that you found this follow-up clarification video interesting and thought-provoking. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out membership for all the primetime perks. I'll see you back at the next one, everyone. Take care. Oh, and just today, I traded those 2 video game consoles in for all of the stuff you see in these 2 boxes. I'm very happy. Daisy's very happy. And I didn't have to pay anything for this stuff.